Clark and Mayer's Chapter 13, Learning Together Virtually. Face-to-face collaborative learning, or cooperative learning, has been shown to improve individual learning, result in higher achievement, knowledge retention, higher use of metacognitive thought, and better problem solving. However, some research shows advantages to learning alone. In order for collaborative learning to be successful, there are a few things to keep in mind. We've all been in groups where one person carries the team. As a result, social interdependence is key. This means that each team member acts under the impression that their own success is also dependent on the accomplishments of their teammates. Group rewards, such as grades, are more effective when they reflect both individual learning as well as the outcomes of the group. This way, learners have more incentive to work together. Outcome goals must be considered. Collaborative learning may support individual learning and/or group project quality. Just because a group's project may be high quality does not mean that each team member received high quality individual learning. Designers must decide what their main expectations are for collaboration so that they can properly structure a learning environment and hit their target. Dialogue quality must be considered. Effective collaboration includes contributions from all involved, and learners are building upon each other's contributions instead of just simply talking about what they each know. Simply telling teams to work together can result in shallow participation or none at all. Designers must create learning environments that foster effective dialogue. To leverage collaboration in learning, designers can use computer-supported collaborative learning, CSCL. This includes learners using synchronous and/or asynchronous technology to reach objectives. Social software such as breakout rooms, chats, email message boards, and social networks have the ability to support collaborative learning through UDL guidelines. The research on CSCL varies as some focuses on individual learning while others focus on project quality. Comparisons are often made about the types of technology used and face-to-face versus virtual environments, which we will discuss in a moment. Because many factors can affect the results of research on CSCL, it is important to note a few generalizations about collaboration. Some generalizations are that individual learning occurs better in pairs, teams of high and low prior knowledge learners work well together, teams are better at solving ill-defined problems, and virtual collaboration can result in better outcomes than face-to-face. Let's take a look at some comparative studies. Researchers compared pairs of students using CSCL to solo learning to see which was better for problem solving. Learners solved an ill-structured problem either on their own or via synchronous chat with a partner. Then, each individually completed an essay about the problem. Learners who solved the problem with a partner scored better on the essay. When the goal is to solve an ill-defined problem, designers should consider CSCL. Researchers also compared face-to-face collaborations in front of a computer screen or via synchronous chat to see how these factors affected team products and individual learning. Face-to-face pairs had better individual learning, while pairs using synchronous chat did better on the group project. Those working face-to-face were observed working independently, and groups with a high prior knowledge learner did better on the project and post-tests. For team decisions, researchers found that when given ample discussion time, virtual groups arrived at more correct solutions than face-to-face groups. Synchronous chat allows for learners to scroll through the conversation to reference all things talked about to arrive at correct solutions. By the same reasoning, a group text may work better to decide on a place to eat than a face-to-face conversation. When comparing collaborations using asynchronous threaded discussion boards, a knowledge map, or both, groups using the knowledge map had better convergence of ideas. Asynchronous threaded discussions like those on Slack can be difficult to jump into mid-discussion. Therefore, designers might consider graphic knowledge maps for easier asynchronous brainstorming sessions. Group roles and assignments can affect CSCL outcomes. Studies show that when posting on asynchronous discussion boards like we do on the LMS, deeper discussions occurred when learners moderated the discussion and provided alternate views as opposed to an instructor. Think of how much more freedom you would have and how much easier it would be to simply respond to your peers as opposed to your instructor. The type of task given to collaborative teams can have an effect on the group product or individual learning. Structured controversy can be used to create collaborative learning environments in both face-to-face and virtual settings. Structured controversy is when teams of 4 are asked to consider an issue, such as attending USC for graduate school. Teams are split into pairs where 2 develop the pros of attending USC and the other 2 develop the cons. Then, the pro pair delivers their arguments and the con pair must restate the pro argument to show they understand, and vice versa. Lastly, the teams reconvene to synthesize both sides of the argument into a unified position. In this case, their synthesis would obviously lead them to want to attend USC. In CSCL, structured controversy would involve each pair working together synchronously in a breakout room or asynchronously using a Google Doc. Pro and con teams could give their arguments over a discussion board or through online conferencing. Either way, structured controversy lends itself to a combination of technologies. Lack of research about CSCL means there's still so much that we don't know. However, there are a few things we do know that designers may want to consider to facilitate collaboration, such as providing clear roles and objectives, using structured controversy to guide tasks, and ensuring social interdependence through incentives. My capstone is a financial aid information session for prospective graduate students. Because it's in a face-to-face setting, at this point, the learning environment itself does not lend itself to a virtual learning. Perhaps I will be able to utilize some synchronous technology such as an online webinar in the next phases of the information session. The learning environment for my capstone does not include opportunities for collaborative learning, as my information session relies solely on individual learning. Although studies have shown that face-to-face learning can improve individual learning, the confidential financial subject matter of my learning environment would prohibit any kind of collaboration during the learning activity. CSCL supports the diversity pillar by utilizing both synchronous and asynchronous social software. By providing opportunities for collaboration online, CSCL provides equal opportunities for learning and access for learners who may not have the ability to go into a face-to-face class. CSCL supports the accountability pillar when clear roles and objectives are provided and learners are able to apply goal-directed decision-making to reach objectives through synchronous and asynchronous technology. Asynchronous technology in particular makes learners accountable for putting forth the effort to contribute to assignments such as forum posts on their own.